Hello， 大家好，欢迎回到外媒看中国，我是安博人。Chinese media has totally debunked another anti-China lie from Donald Trump, further casting the beleaguered president into a position that is harder and harder to return from by the day. On April 21, Trump posted 3 images of ocean pollution on Truth Social, calling it a gift from China. But his post backfired spectacularly when Global Times threw water on Trump's fake news flames, dissecting the post piece by piece to show the world how dishonest and immature the so-called leader of the free world really is in 2025. Add this to his blatant lies about speaking with President Xi Jinping and his claims to be making 200 trade deals when the entire planet doesn't even have 200 countries. And you've got an absolute circus of an administration. But why is Trump comfortable with being such a blatant liar? Well, I have a theory. Today, we'll go beyond the propaganda. This is Reports on China. I'm Andy Borham here in Shanghai. Let's get reporting. On April 21st, US President Donald Trump posted 3 images of piles of plastic garbage floating in the ocean, all under the caption, "A gift from China in the Pacific Ocean." Now think about this for a second. That is one heck of an accusation to make, especially coming from the so-called leader of the free world. Any president or world leader should act in a dignified, honest, and diplomatic manner, regardless of whether their country is big or small, right? Before any world leader posts such an accusation online for the world to see, they should not only think about the message they're trying to put across and the diplomatic ramifications involved, but also be absolutely positive after a rigorous process of fact-checking and verification that what they're saying was true and accurate. Not Donald Trump. You see, the 3 images he posted, which were designed to suggest that China doesn't care about the environment and that the photos show the effects of China's mass disregard for the planet, were absolutely nothing to do with China. In fact, one of the photos was doctored. That all came to light thanks to the crew at the Global Times, who found the origins of all 3 images and let the world know, with a piece titled, "Trump's Gift from China Posts Debunked. Images of ocean debris proven to be outdated and altered," where they simply showed with clear evidence that Trump is lying without any further editorial comment. Very classy. According to the Global Times, the first image was taken in Indonesia and released in 2014. The photographer of the picture is Ethan Daniel, and it highlights plastic floating garbage washing against a remote island in Raja Ampat, Indonesia. China? Nope. Global Times report that the second image is from underwater photographer Caroline Power, who released pictures in October 2017 of the sea of plastic around the idyllic Honduran island of Roatan, where she lives, according to Sky News. In the pictures, large masses made up of plastic bottles, cutlery, and polystyrene plates can be seen engulfing the water's surface. China? No. And the last image was photoshopped, according to Global Times, who say, the third image posted by Trump is a digitally composited picture. The left half of the image is an Associated Press photo showing a floating boom for collecting plastic litter in the Pacific Ocean as part of the ocean cleanup program being assembled in Alameda, California, cited by the Wall Street Journal in 2019. The right half of the image is cited by The Mirror in 2017, saying it's estimated by Greenpeace that 12.7 million tons of plastic end up in our oceans every year from bottles and bags and microbeads. China? No. How embarrassing is it that the President of the United States of America can be caught up in such fake news, especially since he's arguably the person who popularized that term way back in his first term in office. Trump has been caught in several massive lies recently, all to do with China, and the largest of which being his constant claims to be chatting directly with Chinese President Xi Jinping, which China has already said publicly is absolutely not true. Despite that, Trump just keeps lying. He recently had a first 100 days interview with Time magazine, where he had this interesting back and forth with the reporter. Will you call President Xi if he doesn't call you? No. You won't? Nope. Has he called you yet? Yep. When did he call you? He's called, and I don't think that's a sign of weakness on his behalf. But do you think it's a sign of weakness if you called him? Look, you could see from the transcript that Trump is calling himself out in real time, which initially seems quite entertaining, but is actually rather terrifying. The reporter trapped him by asking, will you call President Xi if he doesn't call you? Trump replied, no. The reporter asked, you won't? Trump said, nope. Now, this back and forth, I won't call Xi if he doesn't call me first, already tells us that President Xi has not called. Because why would you ask that question if he'd already called you, right? And then the reporter asks, has he called you yet? To which Trump replies, yep. The reporter asks, when did he call you? Which, of course, Trump cannot answer, right? Because he just waffles on saying he's called, and I don't think that's a sign of weakness on his behalf. China and the US are not negotiating around tariffs at all. And even if they were, that would absolutely not involve President Xi speaking directly with President Trump, no matter how much he dreams for that conversation to happen. It's just not going to come true. So why is Trump doing that? Well, I'll tell you my theory shortly, but first let's check out another part of that Time interview. When Time asks about Trump's claims that 90 trade deals will be done in 90 days, the president makes a shocking announcement. I've made 200 deals, he says, which obviously shocks the reporter who asks, you've made 200 deals? 100%, Trump replies. You guys, there are literally only 193 UN member states in the world, and there's no way Trump has made deals with all of those places, let alone an extra 7 countries that he's invented out of thin air. What is Trump playing at? Well, I think he fully realizes that the US is basically divided in half into 2 realities. One is the pro-Trump reality, and one is what he would call the anti-Trump reality. One half is the people who watch Fox News, and the other half is everyone else. I call them realities because that is literally what they seem to be. Both sides live in their own echo chambers, unwilling and unable to see the reality of the other side. Take, for example, the January 6th riot on Capitol Hill. The so-called anti-Trump side are convinced that that was the worst day in recent US history, while Trump's side probably can't even remember the date. What Trump has managed to do is convince his side that anything they might hear from the other side is just fake news, designed to ruin him and end the MAGA movement. So he's realized that he can literally say anything, no matter how ludicrous, no matter how much evidence there is to show he's lying, and his side will believe it. And for Trump, that's all that matters. As long as he can keep his core supporters, half of the USA who got him into office in the first place, that's enough. So he lies and says President Xi is calling him, which allows his supporters to believe his tariff war's already been won. He lies and posts images of ocean pollution and blames China, despite the evidence that what he's saying is actually fake news, and his supporters will still believe him. People talk of civil war in the US, but I think today's situation is much, much more scary. There are literally 2 realities, both existing at the same time, yet totally separate from one another. Scary stuff. And on that note, that will be it for today, you guys. But first, check this out. I have a copy of the paperback version of my book, The Wu-Mao Handbook, 20 China Lies Debunked, which is so exciting. I'm going through the last final checks now and anticipate it'll be available around the world on Amazon next month. I'm really excited for you guys to have a read, and I'll keep you guys updated with any details I know as soon as they come. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help the channel. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.